Yes. Cool. Hi. My name's Kai. I saw that you were asking for any tutorials or references on how to make comics in Clip Studio Paint. Um, like I said in my first reply, I've been doing comics in Clip Studio since about 2016 or 17. Um, I don't think I've turned back to using Photoshop or Paint Tool Sai for comics since then. So I'm gonna just show you really quick how I personally use Clip Studio Paint to make my comics. I'm not going to use this canvas, I'm going to make a whole new one. And I'll walk you from making a whole new canvas all the way to putting stuff into your frames. So if you hit your new canvas button up here, or if you go over to File New, you'll get a dialog box, which I wish I could show you guys. But OBS loves to be a pain in the ass. Okay, so this is your uh, new canvas dialog box. What you're gonna do is you're gonna go to the second option, which is set for comic, and you'll get this big box. And this is just if you want full control of how your comic pages are used, you can use this third option, which is show all comic settings, which gives you every comic setting that they have. Um, so comic gives you some preset settings that you have very limited uh, editing capabilities on. Show all comic settings gives you full editing capability on. I use that one because I have a specific page size that I use for all of my pages. Um, so I have it set to 900 by 1200 at 350. I usually put it at for my resolution. And I make sure my paper color is set to like a 75%, 50 to 75% gray. I'll set it to 60 so it's a little bit darker. If you hit the comic settings tab, it gives you settings on how your binding is going to be, your default border or your inner size, safety margins, all that stuff. I very rarely use that because I very rarely have to print my stuff. Um, and if I do, I usually put it in a different program to set it up for print. Down here, you can check whether or not it has multiple pages and then put in the page number and then what side it's binding on and then what side it's starting from. So for American comics, it's always going to be left binding starting from the right. And if it's Japanese and I do believe Chinese style, it's starting from the binding on the right, starting from the left. Um, but I know American and Korean style comics are always left, binding on the left, start on the right. So that's where that option is. And if you go back up, you have the option to add a cover page, story information uh, as far as that goes. I've never really had to use it, but it pretty much tells you like what is the name of the story, where is the name of the story going to be on the page, uh, how many stories is it, subtitle of the story, author's name. I always put my name in there just in case, and then page number, where the page number would show on the page if you want that option. Um, the portfolio options are for when you do you do a 3D view of the comic. Um, doesn't always work. It's kind of a janky system at the moment, but I'm pretty sure they're working on it. And if you go up here, where it says unit, that's where you can change it to centimeters, millimeters, inches, pixels, or points. I usually leave it on pixels because, again, I don't really do a whole lot of printed comics, so I don't really have to worry about it. And then you just hit OK, it'll close the window, and then it's going to take a minute now because I forgot to change the page number. But yeah. So you can see the little loading box. It's going to take a minute to load however many pages that you wanted initially. Um, Yay, it loves to take its. Come on. There we go. So it's going to load into this, which is your story editor. Come on. Thank you. So in order to open up a page, you just click the page, and then you can either right-click open page or right-click open page with new tab. If you just open page, it's just going to open a new tab anyway. See? So you have your first page there. But if you go to your second page and open it, it's going to close the first page tab and replace it with the second page. If you want to have two pages open at once, you're going to go, let me open page one again. You're going to go to the page that you want open, right click, open page with new tab, and then you're going to have page 1 and 2 in two different tabs. Okay, and anytime that you save, so if I do this and I'm like, oh, I want to save it, you're not going to see it. You'll see it immediately, but it'll have a little asterisk next to the page. So if you just go back to the page that you edited on and you hit save, it saves it in this kind of compiled project file. You can undo that. You don't need to keep it. You can close page 2. You don't need to keep it open just yet for this. The next thing is putting in frames. So if you are using, I think it works on both Mac and PC. If you hit U twice, it'll open up the subtool frame border. But it's just the little comic page over here in the tools menu, or if you have your tools straight down, it'll literally look like a little comic page. You click that and it'll bring you to these options where you have a rectangle frame, a polyline frame, and a frame border pen. And then the next option next to that is the cut frame border options. So you have divide frame border and divide frame border. I don't know why there's two. I know there's a different method for each. Oh, my bad. One is divide frame folder, one is divide frame border. So I use folder because folder keeps each panel in its own separate folder. I like it for organization purposes. So if you just drag, you click and drag on the canvas. Sorry, my allergies are acting up really bad. I'm gonna undo that. Wow, my brush size is set to 25. I don't know why. You really don't need anything over like 15. Because then you'll have like super thick lines and you really don't need anything really thick. So you have, this is a frame folder. If you look over here, it has a ruler automatically put into it and a mask automatically put onto it, and its own background layer. So if you click the folder and you go to cut frame border, and then you go to the divide frame border tool, if you just divide, it's not gonna separate into different folders. It's just gonna be one folder. I'm gonna show you. So it's just one folder with a split in the middle. You don't necessarily need that, but if you go divide frame folder, it's gonna separate it, and this is gonna be a big separation, but it'll separate it into two different folders. So this folder is this one down here, and then this one is this one up here, and you see you can't really scribble down into the folder underneath it. If you disable the mask, you can see that I did scribble down here, but it's not going to show up outside of the mask, essentially. What else? Oh, if you use your text tool and you go to your balloon tool, this is where you use your dialog balloons. If you want it on a separate layer, like if you want it, like you make a layer above all your frame layers or your panel layers and you want it on that layer, you're gonna have to just drag and drop the balloon layer outside of the actual frame. I don't know how to fix that yet. Uh oh wait, maybe I just did. Maybe we're learning something together. Uh yeah, no, it still does it. Anyway, you could do that, it'll make a new layer, and then you just drag and drop it outside of that. Also just use the object tool to move it around and change its shape and stuff. Oh my gosh. I also keep my balloon set to 95 fill opacity, you know, just to keep it kind of fresh. Sometimes it'll do this. Keep it as how to add to selected layer. This way you could just add it on top of balloons and it won't jump back into the frame and make a new layer. Same with text. If you just do text and you click inside the frame, you could just add your text into that and it'll literally be bound essentially to your balloon layer. So if you move your balloon, the text is going to move with it. I think that's all the basics. I really did try to keep this quick because, you know, Twitter doesn't like long videos apparently. But I'm gonna have to upload this anyway. So this is just like a super rough and quick tutorial. I will, if you guys want me to, I can make a better, more in-depth tutorial on how I use all of the comic tools. But it's quite literally like how you set up your file, and then it's all of like 2 or 3 tools to really change stuff. The only other thing is if you want to change like points and stuff and move your comics points like that, all you have to do is click the frame while using the object tool or the operation tool. Wow, I said object tool. Oh wait, no, it is the object tool. Use the object tool and then just grab the little handlebars on the corner. I could probably zoom in a little bit. But these little handlebars here, and that'll move the pages. If you want to move it closer, use the little yellow arrow to kind of move it closer or further apart. Just like that. And then the little blue dots, just move it in a linear path. So it's just straight with how you move it. And then excuse me. The vertical and horizontal gutter is the space that is cut between the panels. Mine, I had it at 25 for some reason. I don't remember why. 50 is still a lot. 15 is good. See? And then you can switch up your vertical to be like 25 to give it more space in between. And each one of those frames that you're seeing on the canvas, they all have their own folders now. And I 100% recommend you rename and color code them because you'll get lost. You'll get lost in the sauce and you don't want that. So each one you click, it'll be black and white or whatever colors you have in that frame as opposed to blue, which is really useful. It's called the show mask area option. But as you can see, each one has its own file. And I think that's it. That's pretty much all the basics of how to make a comic in Clip Studio, and just use those folders like you would use regular folders. The other option is you could just do it by hand, but they kind of provide you with all the tools you need, so I recommend just utilizing them. That's it. I'm sorry, this is really awkward. My allergies are acting up and they are messing with my speech. So yeah, I hope that helped. If you have any questions, feel free to just message me. I'll answer to the best of my ability. Yep. Bye.